Our leader, Thomas Mulcair.
Good morning, May12th. I'm proud to be here with our New Democratic team, Jonathan Genet-Jourdain, Carol Hughes from Algoma, Manitoulin, Kapuskasing, Dennis Bevington from the Northwest Territories, and our leader, Thomas Mulcair. And I want to pay a special tribute to my dear friend, Rebecca Friday from Saskatchewan, because this morning in Cache, we have a full evacuation of a community. Once again, what we're dealing with here is a scandal of international proportions. The fact that we have a government that says it will stand up for the victims of crime and then says, but there's two kinds of victims and First Nation victims need not apply. A government that says that it will create safe communities and then tells First Nation communities that they're on their own. This isn't a political issue. This is a fundamental moral issue. How can it be in 2014 that we have a situation where a segment of our society is told they do not rate when it comes to safe housing, good education, safe health, and above all, safe families? How could it be that in 2014 that our mothers have to come here on Mother's Day to beat the drum, to say where's the action on the murdered daughters, the murdered sisters, and the murdered women? Ce matin, nous avons reçu le rapport de M. Anaya, le rapporteur de l'UN. Et M. Ayana, c'est clair le rapport. Nous avons une crise de notre pays. Le manque de logement adéquat, le manque de santé, et concernant la situation avec les femmes autochtones disparues et assassinées, c'est une honte internationale. We need to do better, and I want to thank the women of Anishinaabe Nation for standing proud here today and calling us all to be the country that we should be, but right now we're not. So thank you, and Miigwech. I want to pass it over to my leader, Thomas Mulcair.
Miigwech. Today, James Anaya, the UN rapporteur, is calling on the Canadian government to finally act on the issue of murdered and missing Indigenous women. Mr. Harper, you have to listen to the United Nations if you listen to nowhere else. We are here on unceded Algonquin territory. Let's remember that. It's symbolic of all that's been lost. À travers le pays, les gens réclament une enquête sur les femmes tuées et disparues des Premières Nations. Aujourd'hui, le rapporteur des Nations Unies joint sa voix à celle de tous les gens ici aujourd'hui pour réclamer une enquête sur ce fléau de près de 1200 femmes tuées et disparues depuis les 30 dernières années. Monsieur Harper, il faut commencer à écouter les Nations Unies. Imagine, if you will, if in a population similar to that of the city of Ottawa, that's the indigenous population of Canada, if we had 1,200 women who had been murdered or gone missing, do you think we'd need the United Nations to plead for an investigation? Of course, it would have taken place right away. À travers le pays, les gens réclament que le gouvernement commence à réaliser qu'il faut créer un rapport de nation à nation, un rapport respectueux. We're calling upon Mr. Harper to start with a respectful nation-to-nation approach. Stop pretending that what we're seeing hasn't happened. 1,200 murdered and missing Aboriginal women is more than enough to have an inquiry. It's time to start acting, Mr. Harper. Listen to the United Nations. Listen to all the sisters who are here today. Il est grandement temps, Mr. Harper, que vous écoutez. Les Nations Unies réclament une enquête. Il faut instaurer une relation respectueuse de nation à nation. Les Nations Unies utilisent le terme crise pour décrire la situation des Premières Nations au Canada. Commencez, M. Harper, par écouter la demande pour tenir une enquête sur les femmes autochtones disparues et tuées au Canada. Mr. Harper, the United Nations is using the word crisis to describe the situation here. It is a crisis of your own making, Mr. Harper. learn how to listen to James and I's report from the United Nations, calling upon the Canadian government to hold an inquiry into murdered and missing Indigenous women, stop stalling, develop that nation-to-nation approach, and start listening to the demands that have been made now for years. May12th.
I'm right here. I'm right here. Regret. Thank you so much. Oh, thanks for talking. Thank you, Regret. Okay, and now we're going to hear from Dr. Carolyn Bennett from the Liberal Party of Canada. Sorry, Carolyn, I guess I could have given you better notice than that. Here we go.
Thank you, Linda, and I'm here today with my friend Cynthia Wesley Eskimo because somehow this is always about a partnership, and it's about the coaches that we've had, like Claudette Commanda and the people that are here to teach us what First Peoples knew from time immemorial, and how we, as the settlers, as those who chose this country, need to put their interests first in a good way, the way that they know is best. We thank you, Claudette, for welcoming us here to the unceded Algonquin territory, and we hope that you will also thank Chief White Duck, who has been always here for us and for this issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women. We thank the grandmothers for letting us stand with them at this very important event, and we thank the Women's Committee of NAN for organizing and designing this beautiful, beautiful ceremony that started before sunset on Mother's Day and to sunrise today, and on this important day where the UN Rapporteur has said that everything that the mothers and grandmothers have known, that this is not okay, and that we are not going to get to the bottom of it without a national public inquiry. On demande d'une enquête nationale publique aux questions, à la question des femmes autochtones disparues et tuées. C'est absolutely imperative that we listen now, because it's also, this is a symptom of what also James and I is talking about in poverty and violence and shelter and all of the things that actually lead to this, as well as the serious problems that we've seen in policing, in sexism and racism, and how we have to learn from this. And if we can get this right, I believe it will start us on a journey forward in a good way. It is really, really important that you're all here. And as we've heard from Chief Fiddler and from all of the people, and I want to thank Chief Fiddler for all of your support, and particularly bringing your daughter here today. This is really, really important that she understands that you can be part of change, and that it is the women that will lead the way. But as you've said, it's not a women's issue, it's not an Indigenous issue, this is a Canadian issue, and we need all Canadians. 96% of Canadians not from an Indigenous background have to be just as appalled and upset as we are that this is allowed to continue. And so this is an epidemic that can and must be stopped. We need to get to the bottom of the root causes, and we need to come in solidarity together as we go forward. It is not to be a political issue. There is nothing gained by refusing to do a national public inquiry, and as Chief Fiddler said, the National Action Plan has to cross all different government departments, all different jurisdictions, all levels of policing, but we cannot get to the bottom of it without a national public inquiry where it's safe for people to come and tell their stories, including even members of the police, and like we learned in the Opal inquiry, where those female RCMP officers were explaining their frustration in not being able to get to the bottom of the Picton investigation. So let us thank everybody here, particularly those that spent the night on Victoria Island, and again as we finish towards sunset tonight, that we will go forward in a good way, and every single Canadian will be part of finding the solutions that will allow the relationship to continue in a good way. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, miigwech.
Thanks so much. You saw a young man water drumming or hand drumming earlier. That's David Fox. His sister Cheyenne Fox was murdered last year, and he'd like to come and have a couple of words. David?
Ani Bojo, David Shret, Indigenous cause, Wikwamakong Dongjaba. As you may know now, my sister was 20 years old when she got murdered, and they closed the case. They didn't investigate it. They said it was a suicide. But she had lots to live for. She had a son. So I just wanted to talk about that and say, you know, you can't just yeah, that was my sister, so it's hard, you know? Harper, you know, speak up for your word, you know? Like, there's people dying, you know? It's not fair. Our Aboriginal people are missing, and you have, like, no concern, no, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, you know. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay, Sue Martin.
Hello, my name is Susan Martin. My Indian name is Magua, which means Mother Bear. First, I'd like to say a word for the president of the Native Women's Association, Michelle Odette. Yesterday, she was on her way from her community to fly out to support this cause. She fights for murdered and everything women right across the country. Yesterday, she was on the plane and the propeller stopped, thank God, and thank you, Creator, for letting the plane land safe. And she wanted to apologize and let everybody know that she's with all of us family members right across Canada. And that's on behalf of Michelle Odette, and she is making changes for our murdered and missing women. Michelle, you're in Winnipeg with other family members. I love you. Keep rocking. This is my daughter, Carrie Ann Dawson, who was brutally murdered in 2002 in Calgary, Alberta, leaving 3 small children behind. My grandchildren were locked in the house with their mother's dead body for 14 hours. This is my child's remains. I did the walk in 2011 as a grandmother and a mother at the age of 51. I walked from Vancouver this afternoon. I had to leave the walk because I had a very sick grandbaby that wasn't going to make it. So as the matriarch of my family, I came home. When I left to Walk for Justice had under 3,500 murdered and missing women in Canada. That's Gladys Reddick and Bernie Williams. Last year, Gladys walked for Cheers for Justice dead. She's got under 5,000 murdered and missing women. I'm asking all Canadians, stand together. Our children are being murdered in foster care because the government has the right to take our children away and place them. Our children should not be taken away. Our children matter. Our sisters matter. Our aunties matter. This is a 7th-generation effect, a root-line effect. It's pretty sad that my grandbabies walk and hold their auntie pictures and only know stories about their aunties. My grandbabies don't know what it's like to have united as one and change this. Let's make it stop because it's just not happening enough. It's happening all over the world. I'm tired. Please stand with us. May12th.
Yeah.
Oh, Charmaine is going to read a poem from Gladys Reddick that wrote for all the mothers across Canada that is for our missing and murdered loved ones as a family member. And it's a Mother's Day poem. Today, our prayers for all the mothers of the world. Prayers that they will be loved and honored as the life giver of society. They say there is no pain greater than when a mother gives birth, but the pain is 10 times greater when her baby hurts. Prayers for all the mothers who have lost their children long before their time. Prayers also for the children who were left behind. Nobody knew that one day our daughters, sisters, and favorite aunties would simply disappear. We did not predict that our loved ones would be murdered, leaving a huge hole in our hearts our families will mourn. Our children are supposed to leave this world after we are gone. Today we pray for those families of our missing and murdered loved ones. As yet another Mother Day goes by, we remember our children from the day that they were born, the love and light they gave us when they gave birth, to a lifetime of love, joy, and happiness. Remember the special moments we had when our babies were growing up, the laughter we shared and the tears we cried, the moments of precious love that we will always carry in our hearts. Today we pray for all the mothers of the world, that those who are missing their loved ones will someday be found. We pray for the mothers of those who were murdered, that someday soon justice will prevail. Our loved ones may be lost to the rest of the world, but they will always be in our hearts, never be forgotten. Prayers today for peace and tranquility, and that every and each mother is blessed with honor, respect, and dignity. They so richly deserve prayers that no more of our children will disappear or be murdered. Today, tomorrow, and forever, mothers are very special as each and every one of you today. Gather in solidarity to share your stories and pain. Always know that you are not alone. Happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you. Bless you all for being a mother to the world. Love and respect, Gladys Reddick. Two, I would like to acknowledge there's vigils right across Canada for our murdered and missing women. In every province, every small town, every big city. So to my family members and the ones that can make it, my prayers and my thoughts are with you. I'm there with you in spirit. Walk strong, sisters. Walk proudly. It's changed things. Next. Watching. Greetings. My spirit name is the one who behaves elderly. Mashkego soul, Bamagay soul, Nina. Mashkego Cree and Eo Cree. Wabaska Doftin. I'm from the Attawabaska First Nation. I hold two feathers, one representing my son, Wabano, and the other one representing Nitse. Nitse is my daughter. Her spirit name is my heart. I was assaulted in November of 2001. I survived my assault, having gone through 2 surgeries. But my daughter made her journey home. I kept my story private. With just my immediate family and close friends. November 13th, 2001. is etched and inscribed in my heart. When I look around and see our daughters, and I think that's probably what my daughter would be wearing. That's probably the music that my daughter would be listening to. Loretta Saunders' passing really struck a chord inside of me, because we failed to acknowledge that aside from Loretta, two spirits were lost, Loretta and her baby. How many people acknowledge the babies that we lose in this country known as Turtle Island? The suffering continues. I've been told that it gets easier with time. And I see all the suffering that has gone on. And by the lack of response by our government, it's like a salt to our wounds. It is the greatest suffering to lose a child. It is the instruction and the teaching of my grandmother and my grandfather that I am to embrace pain and suffering and adversity in a good way. So I stand here before you on behalf of my daughter, Heavenly Kiana Alexandria Pappas, her spirit name, Nisehe, that you remember my child and you honor this child by responding with action. Canada is taking action over the kidnapping of African girls. And it strikes me as blatant hypocrisy that we're willing, as a Canadian country, to respond to Africa, but we fail to respond to the suffering of our missing and murdered girls and women, and to child welfare warfare. I am the founder, and my family are the founders of Wabi Village, a community of hearts. We tell the Wabano Ayatel story. We are 5 living generations of war conflicts known as the Indian Residential School, the 60 Scoop, the Indian Day School, and the Millennium Scoop. My grandmother and my mother were in the House of Commons on June 11, 2008, receiving from Stephen Harper the residential school apology. My grandmother is the oldest living residential school survivor. Her name is Marguerite Wabano. In my family, we know her as Coco Maganik. And in that apology, I'm asking you to revisit that apology and sit with every single sentence of that apology. Because everything that he has apologized for is still happening today. It hurts when I hear people speak of the residential school as if it happened in the past, because it is a great indicator that our Canadian educational system is failing us. The ignorance of the residential school, the 60 Scoop, the Indian Day School, and the millennium scoop is what is causing the racism, the discrimination, the stereotyping. And it leads to such atrocities as the loss of our children and violence against women, gender inequality. Many of our women are having to go to prostitution because they're not able to tap in to the resources that we have in our communities as part of our treaty rights. The Attawabasket First Nation is known to have diamonds, yet we are the most economically challenged community members. This needs to change, and I am calling for a change. Our women need education, two-way learning. We need housing. Our children need resources. Our special needs children need resources. My son, Wabano, has been under the care of the Calgary Child and Family Services. My son acquired a brain injury while in the care of the Children's Aid. He fell from the second floor of the foster home and fractured his skull and had bleeding of the brain. My son is now permanently brain injured. And yet, we have been left to our own. And that child, resources are being made available to the institutions, the group homes and the foster homes. The discrimination exists when those funds are not being made available to mothers and fathers, such as myself. And yet we know, right behind me, the Jordan's Principles passed unanimously in the House of Commons. How many times have we known for anything to pass unanimously in this building behind me? And in theory, we have all kinds of instruments that's supposed to protect our women and our children. So what exists in theory and what happens in reality is not congruent. So I ask each and every one of you to stand with us. I want you to see us for who we are, that we are mothers who love our children desperately. My son and my daughter matter. Wabano, I love you. Mistehe, I love you. And I'm going to stand here for all these women because the Creator saw it fit that I live for a reason. And I'm going to speak on behalf of those women. So when we say we're going to honor the missing and murdered women, had I died and you didn't hear my story, what I would want you to do is honor me while I'm alive. Honor our children while we're alive. Get angry. Get angry that Canada's not doing anything while it goes to battle for Africa. And give that apology in 2008. Honor that apology. Quit the lying. Quit dehumanizing us. How do I show you love? How do I teach you love? How? English.
Wow. Thank you so very much. We're going to have some more drumming. Can I get one of the drums to come up? You can. Actually, David's going to sing a song. And the family.
I can.